What's going on, guys? I'm Teo and welcome to another vlog episode. This is going to be the final installment of my first quarter of 2018 challenge, and I'm just going to talk about a bit about everything, but first I'm just going to do the session, and then I'm just going to talk about everything else, including the giveaway. Stay tuned for the giveaway. I definitely want to hear what you guys think about that, but without further ado, man, let's just jump right into the hands, talk about this last session that I had. And this session goes way back to March. So although it is May right now, I've been a little backlogged. Things have been really busy at work. Things have been busy in life, and I just haven't had the chance to pump this one out. So this is the final installment of the challenge. And as I said before, I know the description says I'm trying to reach a goal of 10,000 for the first quarter, and that was a little more realistic in the beginning, when Woodbine was still open and I could put in maybe, 3 sessions, 4 sessions a week type of thing. But now I can only put in 1 session on the weekend max. And sometimes I can't even play all the weekends during a month. So sometimes I can only get 2 weekends in, 2 sessions per month, which means that if I play for 10 hours, then I'm averaging maybe $50 an hour, which only gives me $500 per weekend type of thing on average. So as you can see, to be realistic, I think 5,000 was a fair number. And stay tuned for that. We did get pretty close to it. So let's just start with the hands, man. I know that's what you guys want to hear. So hand number 1. All right, so I got 6-7 of clubs. I'm on the button. I got 900 in front of me. It is 9-handed. Middle position 1 opens to 20, and he is a regular player, but kind of opening standard range, and he is more on the loose side. I would say he's kind of like semi-loose, so I expect him to be doing this with a wider range of hands, definitely suited aces type of thing and suited Broadway cards. So I could definitely push him off a lot of hands if it does get back to me, but cutoff decides to flat, and now it does get back to me, and I've been playing pretty snug for the most part. So this is perfect opportunity for me to just kind of represent, and I decided to go to 80. 3 ways to the flop, they both call. 5, 7, 8, 2 spades out there, and I got a club, so I got a backdoor flush draw. They both check to me, and I decide to c-bet. 125. I can't go wrong with this board. I hit a pair, and I got an up and down. I got a lot of equity. Don't really care too much about what they're going to do. M1 now decides to go to 300, and the cutoff snap fold. At this point, I can just, ship the rest of my stack, because I'm never folding at this point. I got way too much equity. I call ace of spades on the turn, and then he just pumps the rest of it. And at this point, I decide to call because, I just put in so much money that there's no way that I'm folding. And an offsuit ace on the river, and then he asked me if I had the ace, and I say no. And he flips over pocket queens, and he takes that one down. So far, we're, down a bullet already pretty quickly. And let's go hand number 2. So I got 10-9 offsuit. I'm in the big blind, 600 in front of me. It is 9-handed. Folds around to the button, and the button is a reg. Definitely his range is going to be wide. He opens to 15, and the small blind folds. It's back to me. 9-10 is definitely a defend-worthy hand, and I decide to call. Take a flop. Queen 3 jack. 2 diamonds out there, and I check to him. He decides to bet 25. I could go either way here. I think I could check raise or check call, but decided to check call here. And I got 5 offsuit on the turn. I check again. I think it's pretty standard. What am I going to do here with a queen? Probably play it the same way. He decides to bet 65, and can't really see myself doing anything too crazy at this point. He's definitely sizing up his bet a little bit. So I do want to give him a little more credit here, and I have to call again. I don't think that I want to get too crazy here, and I decide to call. 10 offsuit on the river, and now I got a pair of 10s, and I check to him, and luckily enough, he decides to check back. I flip over my 10-9, and he shakes his head, and then he shows another 10. So I don't know. He probably was doing the exact same thing with a hand like 10-8 and just had a gut shot, so we had him the whole way, and we take that one down. Let's go on to the next one. So I got 10-8 of clubs. I'm in E2, got 1,000 in front of me now. It is 9-handed. I decide to open to 20 bucks, and it folds to the big blind, who is a young, loose, aggressive player, and seems to be strong, and he's definitely playing pretty well so far. I haven't played with him before, but he's definitely holding his own and playing well. Definitely have to take that into consideration and just play accordingly. Anyways, heads up to the flop, and the flop is 10-7-4 rainbow. He checks. I decide to bet 20. He calls. King offsuit on the turn. Goes check, check. 7 on the river. He checks to me, and I decide to bet 35 here, going for a little bit of thin value. And he decides to call, and he shakes his head after I show him the 10, and he mucks his hand. So that was pretty good. We took down another little pot there with a little bit of a thin value bet. Let's go on to the next hand. Kind of running through these hands here. Hopefully you guys are just taking note and everything isn't going too fast. I know I like to usually talk a little more about my hands, but I know you guys want to just speed through them, so I listen to you. I listen to you, man. I try my best. Anyways, we got the queen jack. We're on the button. Got 1,200 in front of me. It is 9-handed. E1 decides to limp, and M1 raises to 30 bucks. A loose passive, and he sometimes randomly gets aggressive. This player decides to call as well in middle position too, and he is a spot in the game for sure. So I definitely want to play with M2 here and kind of be in the pot with him. So it folds to me, and I also decide to call with queen jack on the button here. Folds through, and then it goes 3 ways to the flop. Queen jack 4. There are 2 hearts out there. Middle position 1 decides to c-bet for 45. Our spot here decides to call along, and it is a really draw heavy board, so don't want to get too fancy here. Even though I am in position, board is really wet. Many things can go wrong on the turn, so I really don't want to screw this up for myself. And I mean, I got to balance a hand here like a flush draw or a combo draw, and definitely put in a raise with a value hand. So I definitely have to throw this one in my value raising hand range, and I definitely have to bump it up. So I go to 210, and unfortunately they do decide to fold. So they both fold, which kind of sucks, but what are you going to do? I think that if middle position 1 decided to continue, I think M2 probably would have called, because he's just the type of player that he's like, oh, you know, if you call, I call type of guy. And I'm sure that many of you guys have heard the guy out there that was like, oh, if you call, then I call type of thing. So anyways, this is going to be the final hand. Wait for it, because it does get really fun. I've got ace king. I'm in the small blind. I got 1,000 in front of me. It's 9-handed, and there's a bunch of limps in front of me. I think there's about 5 of them. So I decide to go to 50, and it folds back to the cutoff, and he decides to call. So I definitely want to bump it up here with ace king out of the small blind. All of you guys know that. Could I have gone a little bigger? Could I have gone maybe like 65? Sure, I could have. Would it have made a difference in this case? Maybe not. He probably still would have called. If he's calling 50, he's probably calling 65. In any case, we kind of got the desired result because everybody else folded, and it's heads up to the flop. Deuce 7-10 rainbow. This is a pretty prime board for me, I think. I decide to c-bet here. I bet 45, and he decides to call. King offsuit on the turn. I'm going to continue here. I'm going to bet 115. Go for a size up here. And he decides to call again. Maybe he's got a hand like 8-9 suited going for a straight. He might have a 10. Just not giving me credit there. And I think that he's just kind of in station mode. So it's either he's got a 10 or he's got some kind of draw. He might have a set there. I mean, if he's playing a set this way, it's pretty damn good for him. But anyways, he calls. So king on the river. And this is like, you know, a dream come true. We go run our trips. And this king is actually a really good card, especially if he has a hand like, say, pocket 9s or a 10. I doubt he's got jacks, but if he's got a 10 or 9s or 8s maybe, he's definitely feeling like he's in hero mode. And I think that there's most likely going to be a chance that he's just going to call down. It just makes it really unlikely that I got a king here, so I just got to bomb it off. I'm shoving. So I went all in, and he didn't think for too long, and he pretty much snap called my 400 bet. And I flip over ace king, and he shows pocket twos. So that's the last hand of the vlog, and unfortunately, as you can see, it didn't go too well. I ended up down the session a little bit. Could have been a lot worse. I mean, we lost a crap ton on that last hand, which was unfortunate, but sometimes coolers like that happen, right? You're gonna get into a situation where you're going to set over set, or you got trips on a really dry board like that, and there's nothing you can do. You just got to put your money in. And when a guy plays his hand so well and he doesn't even, you know, give you any alarm bells, it's like, man, just that hand, beautifully played. Pocket twos, like, just, you know, let me fire into you. And that's exactly what I did. Great play. Just, I would have definitely done the same thing with pocket twos there. Such a dry board. It's like, and when the king comes, you know that it's so unlikely for me to have quads there, and you know that you almost have the best hand, unless I have pocket tens or something. So anyway, that wraps it. So how did we do for the challenge of 2018? Well, we did pretty damn good. I think we got about, I'm going to do the math. I'm going to post the math here, but I think it's close to about 36 to 3,700 is what we came up with, which is not so bad. I mean, we fell a little bit short of our 5,000 mark, but that's because we had a really, really bad session. And if you guys check that out, I don't remember if it's the quick hands number 11. Maybe not. Maybe it's quick hands number 12. But we lost a lot in that session. It was just my worst session at 2-5 that I've had in history. And I was down a substantial amount. But, you know, it's part of the game. If you can get through these spots where you're kind of just on a downswing, you got to minimize all these losses, right? Just play your A game and just remember to just stick through what you've learned. Stick with the plan. That's the best thing that I could say. Man, if you're a reg watching this, I know exactly what it takes and what it feels like to just kind of push through these sessions, through these downswings. And it could be very, very, very detrimental to your bankroll. So that's why it's so important. I mean, for some people, it's more natural to be really strong mentally. And I've seen a lot of regs just kind of dust off a lot of money. When you start losing, like, I see people just burning, like they're lighting it on fire. So you go from being a really good player to being the spot at the table. You got to really look out for that. Just step back a little bit. Try to analyze your game. Try to run through all the checklists, right? I know at this point, in this time, in the time frame where you're just so overwhelmed, you have to think about, am I doing this correctly? Am I doing that correctly? Am I doing that correctly? And you're just mentally checking off every hand, every play, every street, just to make sure that you're playing correctly. You know, am I supposed to do this? Am I doing this based on emotion, or am I doing this based on what I've learned and what I've been practicing this whole time? So anyways, that's all I could kind of take from this little journey. I mean, it's only 3 months and it's really not that many sessions. Some of you guys are wondering, man, like, how do you make a living with 3,700 or just like 4,000 bucks in 3 months? And sometimes that's why it's important to have an emergency fund. You got to be able to float through these downtimes if you're running really bad. But I mean, in my case, you know what I mean? These are just a few sessions, and I'm just going to post the hourly. I'm going to run it through my Excel. I'm going to kind of show you what the average was for that time frame. Probably in the neighborhood of 30 to, I would say, 45, because I was running a little bit below average. Somewhere around there, 30 to 45, maybe even 50. I don't know. I got to check it. I haven't checked it in a while, so I got to just take everything and just put it in there. I got my notes here on my phone. So that's what I got to do. And guys, stay tuned for the next vlog. The next vlog is going to be a bankroll vlog. And I know that WSOP is going to be right around the corner. Some of you guys might be going out to the World Series for your first time. I know that last year I went for my first time. Dude, it was amazing. June was just, oh, it was awesome. World Series, or was that 2016? I think it was 2016. It was just, it was great. Can't say anything bad about it. It was just, World Series was great. Yeah, and you guys are just going to love it. When you go there, you're going to love it, but be prepared. And anyways, talk a little bit about the giveaway. It's way overdue now. I know I've been blabbing and blabbing and blabbing, running off. So some of you guys that are kind of here, well, I thank you for sticking around this long, man. I really do. Comment below. Let me know what you think would be a good item to throw in. Anywhere from $10 to $20. You let me know. Comment below. And I'm going to see you guys in the next vlog. I'm going to talk about bankroll management and what I've done over the years. And I'm going to see if I can collaborate with Christy B's vlog and see if she's willing to do something as well. And I'm going to get back to you. So you're going to see that you're going to have a little bit of insight from other players as well, including myself, and what I've done in the past playing on a full-time basis versus on a more of a recreational basis, which is what I'm doing now. And it is way, way less stressful. And I'm going to talk about that next time. So stay tuned for that. Until next time, guys, thanks again for watching. Please subscribe. And if you haven't already, all you got to do is hit that subscribe button and then wait 5 seconds or so. You're going to see a bell pop up, and then you click that bell too. You got to wait that 5 seconds because